Hi there, everyone. Welcome to Believe in Bills, the Wednesday edition. Adam Benigni in Amherst, and Sal Maiorana, as you can see, is in the field house down at One Bills Drive in Orchard Park. And Sal, when last we spoke, we again, coming out of the win over the Jets, emphasized the fact that the Bills needed a more explosive downfield passing game. It's a theme we've been talking about through the course of the offseason, through the preseason, certainly into the regular season, especially over two of the last three games, and really the last three games. And like within an hour after you and I spoke, you were down in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The Bills make the move that everyone's talking about across the National Football League. We had projected Amari Cooper as potentially a very good addition for them, and they make the move. They needed to do this, and I think this is the type of player. This is a quality player they added here.
Yeah, absolutely, Adam. I left the hotel and was driving down 81, swearing at the Pennsylvania condition of their roads. And then I was just going to pull off to get something to eat. And I looked at my phone, and like 3 minutes before is when the announcement came that they had traded for Cooper. So I went to a Subway, got my lunch, and started writing a story. It was actually pretty good timing for me for once. It worked out. So anyway, yeah, look, the salary alone was the reason why this could be done, right? I mean, Ben and Bean just said a half hour ago he was monitoring the Devontae Adams situation, and he wouldn't say that they were completely in on it because I think he knew deep down there was no way they could feasibly bring in Adams with an $11 million or whatever it is salary cap hit. So I think he was on Cooper right from the start. There may have been a couple other guys, Adam, that they were monitoring as well, but Cooper just, to me, was by far the best fit, especially when you consider the Browns redid his contract,
Right.
and he only cost the Bills less than $900,000 for a team that only had $3 million in cap space. That's a pretty good marriage right there. Not to mention the guy's a good player still. He's 30 years old, but this is still a quality wide receiver. Yeah, he's on the decline a little bit, like Stefon Diggs was, but I think this is a guy that's going to come right in. And, you might not see it here in the first couple of weeks, but once he gets ingrained, I think it's a big, big upgrade for the Bills passing game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We're going to get into all of this, what this acquisition means for the Buffalo Bills. First, quick word from the sponsor here. Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet Online, the game starts here. So let's talk about that in terms of Amari Cooper. Yeah, and I think it was like 800 something thousand dollars against the salary cap. So it made sense for so many reasons. But this is the type of move. It's never about one player. And I don't think either one of us want to overstate the fact, were the Bills one player away from a Super Bowl? Well, maybe, and I'll tell you why I think it. Because it's about more than Amari Cooper. It's what Amari Cooper, the dimension he adds, in my opinion, and what that does for the rest of this receiving core. Because now you have players that can fit into roles that are more suited to their skill set. Now, for example, you can have a Khalil Shakir working in the slot. You can have a Keon Coleman playing to his strengths, maybe more of a Gabe Davis type role. Think about what this does for Dalton Kincaid and what this could potentially open up for him underneath in the passing game and that sort of a thing, because now the Bills have a downfield threat. Maybe he's not quite as quick as he was, obviously, coming when he came into the league, but this is, I think it's 6,000-yard seasons and a very precise route runner. He still brings a lot to the table and comes over from a struggling Browns offense. He can make a difference, not just in terms of what he adds, but what he does to other players in that Bills passing game.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think he can really get other guys now in positions that maybe are more beneficial to them. I mean, Keon Coleman is pretty much the prototypical X receiver, right? He's not really like Amari Cooper is going to be. He'll be a Z receiver on the outside for the Bills. Coleman is more of that X receiver. He's going to live short and intermediate. Khalil Shakir, I think he does his best work when he's in the slot, and he can pretty much go there full time if Cooper's going to be on the field. And then Cooper just brings that element of, and what I like about him too, Adam, like you said, He's a really good route runner. I mean, it's a lot more for a wide receiver than just catching the ball. I mean, you've got to go out and run your route precisely. You've got to read coverage, read leverage, all that stuff that a guy in his 10th year knows like the back of his hand. He can come into this offense, and once he gets the terminology down, it basically is just football. And we kind of just said that when he spoke to us a few minutes ago. It'll take a little bit of time to get used to things around here, but he's playing football. He's been playing it all his life. He knows how to run routes and catch the ball. So I think that's going to be really important for the Bills because, like I said, they've got a guy now that they have a very clear need for, and he can seamlessly move in and I think provide a big boost for Josh Allen in the passing game.
We've heard everyone eats that mantra, right, for this receiving core. And you wonder.
I hope this guy eats more than the other
Yeah,
guys,
right.
Adam.
Well,
quite
yeah.
frankly, yeah.
Right. They need him to, right? But you wonder what a new personality injects into that locker room and the culture. I mean, Sean McDermott, you can criticize him for a number of things, but the culture that he and Brandon Beane have built, right, and what it's translated to in terms of very consistent success on the field and 4 straight division titles is very well established. And along those lines, when the deal went down, my phone rang within 2 minutes of it being announced. And someone who I know well who covers the Cleveland Browns, first thing they said to me was, "You're going to love this guy." Like, great personality. We heard from him for the first time as we record this just a few moments ago. But in terms of being able to blend in to that dynamic in the locker room, you're not getting the Stefon Diggs element and the off-field element that the Bills had to deal with and was a big reason why they moved on from him this offseason. Cooper's more of a team player kind of guy with experience and a background of success. So I think it's important for this team that he also brings that to the table.
Oh, absolutely. You can just tell, just sat, for his presser a few minutes ago, and you could tell, very quiet guy. Bean even said that when he spoke to us. He said, you're going to find out he's pretty quiet, doesn't say a whole lot, professional guy, professional attitude. And you could see that. We were asking him questions. You try to draw things out of him, just very measured in his responses. And, he can tell. This guy's 30 years old. He's been in the league 10 years. There's going to be a veteran presence with him in the locker room now. And they've got a couple of guys that are already there, right? Matt Collins is a veteran in this league. I'm not going to say Shakir is there yet. He's only in his 3rd year. But Amari Cooper definitely raises the standard, I think, in that wide receiver room. Again, not only from a playing ability, the guy's had a great career already, but as you said, from a culture fit, he really does seem like a Sean McDermott, a match made in heaven for the way Sean wants his locker room run and how he wants his players to act.
So, big question with the Tennessee Titans coming to town on Sunday. Bills back at home. How soon might Bills fans see him? And they're playing this one close to the vest, as you'd probably expect. But what was interesting, I mean, Sean McDermott, they're going to get him in, get him up to speed. You also heard Josh Allen talk about it, and I thought Brandon Beane was perhaps strongest on this, that the receiver position, when you come in kind of midstream on the fly, like Cooper is probably the most difficult position to learn in terms of incorporating into a new offense and the complexity of it. And Allen himself said the Bills, it's not the easiest system, right? It's pretty sophisticated in terms of what they have. So, will he play Sunday? How quickly can he get up to speed? How effective can he be? How soon? I think the fact that he's been through this before, I mean, this is a guy that's already been traded in his career. I mean, I think his experience will help with that. But again, I guess to most of the fans, to that question among the fan base, will he play Sunday? We don't know the answer to that at this point.
No, we don't know the exact answer. My anticipation is that he would. They moved on from Valdez-Scantling to create room, so that's the 5th receiver. So I think he will play. I'm sure it'll be a mostly limited role. They're going to kind of get him into a few certain sets. Give him this playbook a little, piece at a time. But I think he'll have enough of a knowledge base that he can go out there and play on Sunday. Again, it's not going to be 80% of the snaps, but as I just said, Adam, he's a 10-year veteran. He knows what he's doing, I don't think it's going to be too drastically difficult for him to integrate himself into this offense. And if he gets open, Josh Allen's going to throw him the ball. So you'll see him out there Sunday. It probably won't be a lot, but I would think within the next week and a half or two, I think you're going to see a full plate for Amari Cooper.
Listening to Brandon Bean, Sal, I'm interested in your take on this. Of course, whether it's Sean McDermott or Brandon Bean, they're extraordinarily politically correct about this decision and this deal, right? And getting Amari Cooper to come in here in terms of, you know, they're confident in the group they already have, the players they have. I mean, that's a delicate balance. And in terms of the messaging, I think we all understand that. And this is a guy, Bean talked about how he was in the mix on this. But I mean, it seems pretty clear to me that they realized pretty quickly that the group they had wasn't going to be enough to make a run at a Super Bowl, that they needed more explosiveness in the passing game. Well, Brandon Bean won't come out and say this. He didn't say it during his news conference today. At what point do you think that he realized that he had to do something and bring a player like Cooper in here?
Yeah, I mean, look, Adam, if they had full faith in all the guys they had, they wouldn't have made the move, right? They wouldn't
Yeah.
have felt the need to go get Amari Cooper and part with a third round pick. I mean, third round pick is a pretty good pick to give away. They were able to do it because they have 2 second-round picks next year. So that's all fine, but it was an asset that they had to give up. So they wouldn't have done that if they didn't think they needed to upgrade at the position. So, he is going to be an upgrade for sure. But they knew, Adam, come on, they knew in week 1 or week 2 that this receiver room was not going to be good enough. And they certainly found out when they got their asses kicked by the Ravens and the Texans that they couldn't move the ball in the air because nobody could get open. So they knew this had to happen. And I commend Bean for doing this. What's the trade like November 5th, I think.
Yeah, right.
So we've still got 2 or 3 weeks. Get him in here for 2 or 3 weeks. When you really need him, I commend him for getting the deal done. And, even though I asked him the question about did the Devontae Adams trade speed up your process to get the trade done for Cooper, and he kind of denied that, but I think it did. I think he realized, well, hey, the market might be moving now with Adams being the biggest piece. We got to get on board and get the guy that, as I just said, is going to fit our offense, number one, but also is going to fit our salary cap. So they knew they had to make the move, and he did it.
Yeah, excellent. And the fact that he referenced that, that the fact that timing of this, that they're able to get a head start on getting him integrated into the offense. So when they really need him in the stretch run of the season and looking toward the postseason, that he is going to be completely up to speed and effective as he can possibly be. So
and then this is a good week to do it, Adam. I mean, this is a good Tennessee defense. Don't get me wrong; they're 1-4, but that's because their offense stinks. But they've got a very good defense. But still, they're coming into your place. This is a team that the Bills should be able to handle. So it's a good week to get Amari Cooper, into it and see what he can do, because you should be able to win this game even if he isn't a big contributor. So I think the timing was really good from that aspect. And then, you go to Seattle, but then in the week after, you've got Miami, division game, coming to your place. He should be up and ready and raring to go at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of leads us to the next point, more of the big picture here. So you look at the Bills and everything that's gone right, what they've struggled with in this 4-2 start, healthy lead in the AFC East now, a more favorable schedule looking ahead, and a more dynamic passing game with the addition of Amari Cooper.